IPL is a high revenue game, to understand. And the promoters or the owners of the CSK, they definitely give a lot of credit to Dhoni for creating CSK as a brand.
IPL is a business thing. It is run by corporate. It is run by Bollywood, and it's straight cutthroat profit and loss. I do not see Dhoni becoming a part of remaining a part of the discourse.
But CSK is today because of the fan base of Mahendra Singh Dhoni, the fan following of Mahendra Singh Dhoni, and the related stuff played around it.
Brand DHONI comes out of the CSK, actually the spur with the CSK team will gradually fall down.
People do not need two power centers in one team, so that's why they want a separate power centers, and coach or captain will be the boss. And a captain like Dhoni or a player like Dhoni or the stature like Dhoni is very difficult to handle.
Where somehow the Indian system is a slave to him somehow. And miraculously, that is continuing. In that massive fraud case against CSK in the IPL, he was untouched.
IPL, it's not a national team or here where the game itself pulls a lot of money.
That I don't think there's been a bigger cult figure in Indian cricket ever than MS Dhoni. So that wherever CSK goes and plays, still there are people of the local city who support CSK.
Good evening, friends. A full show today after a very, very long time. Happy to see Kunal and Ayon. IPL was looking a little bleak without you guys. Important topic came up. Basically, we got good filler from the media itself that no one is willing to take over CSK because next year, because the mega auction is at the end of the year, so you can't do much tweaking with the team. And no one wants to, of course, Fleming perhaps will be chopped, which looks likely after a long tenure with the CSK. I mean, when the team doesn't do well, the first head is coach. But a unique problem with Mahendra Singh Dhoni because he doesn't play any format and he is in the team as a mentor, come senior player. No one knows, but no one is comfortable to ask him the question also. And we hear that the CSK management is not willing to remove him, and no one wants to be the coach if Dhoni is there. It's quite an impasse in Indian sports, and this has not happened much. In soccer, it has happened sometimes with Subhash Bhomik and as a senior player, and I remember, I think PK was the coach. This was late 70s in Indian soccer, but very few instances where a senior player's presence is creating a problem and he's not a player in the team. So we'll start off with Kunal, because Kunal has ample experience in this particular field, handling it every day in a very big corporate. Kunal, then I'll come to Ayon, and lastly Ishanjan, because this is a senior management thing, so we'll come to Ishanjan in the last. Kunal, your take, because you wanted to have a discussion on this especially. A senior person not performing, the team doesn't, I mean, the owners don't want him to be removed or sacked, but the other players and supporting staff want him to be moved. So except the seniors, everyone wants him to be moved. What does the team management do?
See, there are two things. IPL is a high revenue game, to understand. And the promoters or the owners of the CSK, they definitely give a lot of credit to Dhoni for creating CSK as a brand. How many people know about Kashi Vishwanath? What about the promoter or the owner of CSK? But CSK is today because of the fan base of Mahendra Singh Dhoni, the fan following of Mahendra Singh Dhoni, and the related stuff played around it. And the phenomenal record. They have reached to 10 IPL finals, 5 champion, impeccable record on the field. They have been out of the IPL for 2 years, but still they have the most
Mm.
impeccable record. Hello, yeah, most impeccable record on the ground.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure CSK management has got a lot of stake involved in and around Dhoni. I won't be surprised that Mahendra Singh Dhoni definitely have a stake in CSK in official or unofficial form. So he is also a decision maker. That's why checking him off is not possible. Now you have asked a question: how do a senior management, senior people get handled by a big corporate or in a team like this? Let me assure you, if the stakes are not high, then this kind of an adjustment doesn't go. That a player is not playing for 14 games and he was injured, he back into practice, but he didn't play a single game. So very difficult to say about Dhoni because he has kept his mysteries all along, always. So it will be better that you can get understand the mystery, but it will be very difficult for any CSK management to remove Dhoni from his position as of now. That's my take.
The problem, Kunal, is I'll have to continue a little bit, then go to Oyon. The problem is no one wants to be a coach if Dhoni is around. This happened with Greg Chappell also. How do you solve this?
Greg Chappell, I do not know. Greg Chappell only brought Dhoni. Greg
No,
Chappell
I'm,
only
I'm
made.
comparing the Greg Chappell era basically, where
Yeah,
there's an
see,
untenable scenario, people were suffocated. Now, here, what I read in media is no one wants to take over the coach because they're saying Dhoni's presence in the dressing room is very threatening. Like Gambhir said, Rohit and Virat, isko hatao, nahi to main nahi chala paunga. Now, that was BCCI. This is private franchises. A huge stake, as you rightly said. If Dhoni is around again next year, no one to coach, that is an impasse. That is a stalemate. How do you solve it? You tell me as a HR head,
this,
what happens now?
I do not know what is the source of your information, but is this can be one of a speculation that Dhoni is around, so nobody wants to coach CSK. It's not that it's a high paid job, and definitely people do not need two power centers in one team. So that's why they want a separate power centers and coach or captain will be the boss. And a captain like Dhoni or a player like Dhoni or the stature like Dhoni is very difficult to handle. You cannot say or ask Dhoni why you have played this shot. You shouldn't have played this shot. You should have carried more time in the middle. You could have. So that could be the discussion point in the dressing room. It is very difficult for any coach to handle situation like that, and nobody wants to get involved in that kind of scenario. The thing is, let me manage my team. I am the boss. Coach is the boss, and he would like to direct the team as like he wants, along with the captain. So Ruturaj was made captain along with Fleming because of this combination only. Jadeja wasn't successful. Why? As a CSK captain. It's the same core players you have same set of coach, same set of supporting staff, but still Jadeja wasn't successful. Why? Because his management skill was not good. So the Jadeja being an warrior, he can play, but not as a captain. Rituraj has handled his team well, I must say. Rituraj will be the captain. I'm not sure whether Dhoni will play next year. This year he's 45. Understand this.
That is exactly where I'm coming to. I mean, my question now will be, I'll come back to you, Kunal, on this. To Oyon now. You also handle a huge organization, huge students, big, one of the biggest institutions of science in India. And as Dean, you worked many years. Oyon, how do you see this? Well, you were Dean for a very long time. How do you see this? Errant, brilliant student causing disruption, but is important to you in your larger scheme of things. How do you handle this?
I mean, you just sit with them. You have to finally get it very clear that a brand is only a brand up to the time that it succeeds. If CSK, I mean, this time they performed very bad. I mean, very much under par. And I mean, it is extremely strange that Dhoni is part of the team. He didn't play a single match. Of course, he's injured. So there has to be value addition. So I do not know where Dhoni is adding value. as Kunal said, there may be something that we are not really aware of about his, his entanglement with CSK. I mean, if there are things which are beyond our knowledge, then of course we cannot comment on that. But what I can say that, see, IPL is a business thing. It is run by corporate. It is run by Bollywood, and it's straight cutthroat profit and loss. I do not see Dhoni becoming a part of, remaining a part of the discourse if, his being with the team does not earn dividends. And I think there are going to be pretty hard discussions about Dhoni being part of the management unless he can contribute in a more meaningful and positive way for the next season. So obviously he has had huge contribution in building brand CSK, but whether CSK remains as a brand, public love, public adulation is very fickle. I mean, you can see
Short memory, very short
what
memory. Correct.
is. I mean, if I just I'm allowed to sway slightly out of topic, but you can see what is happening to Bengal. You can see how the erstwhile power to be is dissipating so quickly because of a failure in an election. It's just dissipating away, right? So it is the same with sport as well. If CSK has performed badly this year, and if I think there are going to be pretty hard decisions that are going to be taken. And but I think also that Dhoni, I think, has a lot to contribute as a very, very good reader of the short format of the game. He was a fantastic captain of T20s, even ODIs, I would say. He can really manage tough situations. So my bet would be that probably if CSK, I think they would still have him around, because they would have him around because he has certainly some kind of very tangible involvement or entanglement, as I said, with CSK, which we're not privy to in terms of knowing. I
Agree, yeah.
feel that they would probably have him as a mentor or maybe even as a coach, because I think this is a good fertile ground for him to actually try out his,
So transit, you're saying transit from a successful great player to a great mentor
yes,
and coach.
I think so, because I don't see, because he's going to be 44.
45.
Where
He's
is he?
45 plus.
45,
He's 45 plus.
45, whatever. So where is he going to get his off season? He has never. There's no question of him playing domestic. Where does he do his off season? 1 year from now, Rahul. I mean, your body will just ask for
Too many
relief.
demanding questions.
I mean, the body will just ask him to let go, right? And I don't see him. I mean, he's probably also, he has too big an ego to come down to lower levels and just
So,
play.
Ayon and Kunal, two senior experts. Kunal says it's a brand Dhoni. He has to be with CSK, irrespective of the fact that coaches cannot work around him. Power center, that is a very valid point. You are saying you cannot continue forever being a brand. That is also a valid point, right? So the observation is, are we getting the source, as Kunal asked, ESPN Cricinfo and Anand Bazar ABP Group both reporting that no one wants to coach in such a big power in the dressing room. Oyon, what do I ask this to Kunal and go back to him? So what do CSK do if they continue with Dhoni and no coach wants to coach?
I absolutely completely see where the problem with any coach would be, because Tony as a player, see, he's a very level-headed individual, right? But the fact, I mean, that is what I always used to think about him. I mean, he's like very, very, forthright. He doesn't mince words, whatever. And he's also a very practical, pragmatic person. But somehow, I think that idea of mine that I had about him has sort of taken a bit of a hit, because he seems to not let go of CSK at all, in spite of the fact that he's not
This is a
contributing
very good point.
hugely. He's just not letting go of CSK. He's his contribution as a batter has gone exponentially downwards.
Now,
I don't
diminished.
feel that.
His returns have been diminishing.
Completely diminishing returns. You tell me, what was the last match that Dhoni won for CSK as a batter? I don't remember.
2022. 2022.
That's like
I just racked
3
the records. 2022, 4 years back.
That is unbelievable, right? I mean, 4 years you're taking him along. So
Yeah.
he's not wanting
And
to
in
let
a
go.
private franchise where money speaks
Yes,
everything, as
so
you rightly
there
said.
is there is something something which we don't know. I think there is something we don't know, but
Correct.
I believe that this kind of a Fevicol thing, Dhoni is like Fevicol. I mean, there is a
Hmm,
Fevicol
hmm,
binding
hmm,
bonding between Dhoni and
hmm,
CSK.
hmm, hmm.
There is no way that CSK is sort of. I cannot see that them getting him away from them. There is this
Hmm,
Fevicol binding. I think
hmm.
for them to get the best out of Dhoni, and also keeping in mind that it is very unlikely for a coach worth his or his salt of getting his way with the team, with this humongous personality of Dhoni around. I think the best solution for them is to try out one season with Dhoni as coach. If they do well, great, power to them. This model wins. If they finish last, Dhoni knows what to do.
Good. Thanks, Ayan. Really crisp points. Kunal, now my question now from what Ayan said would be, if Dhoni has to play, and it seems that if he says I'll play, no one can talk. That is what looks like, because his management doesn't want to get rid of him. So if he says he wants to play, and if no coach wants to coach because of Dhoni's presence, what happens? I mean, in your corporate style example, a person is not performing. You as a HR head, you don't see his value. But the boss says isko rakh lo.
Somebody,
Then
somebody has to,
what is the way out? What is the way out?
somebody has to get the chicken by his neck. So somebody have to have the chicken. As I said, Dhoni, remember your own statement about Gambhir, Sehwag, the Dravid, Kumble, Lakshman, Dada, Saurav, about that they are getting older. So you cannot choke your opponents because of the fielding. The same theory applies to you as well. You are 45. You're not getting younger. At the 45, which franchise will fancy a batter who will play 8, 9 balls? Is it only the revenue earning standpoint that CSK want to keep him as a brand? So the ticket gets sold, they get money, they get more,
Yes, to get
they
money, very
can
important.
get money, they get more, they can go to different franchise, different event partners, branding, promotions. That's only a revenue channel. That's why they need Dhoni.
Correct.
So
Very true.
they
Very true.
will, that's why they will not make them coach or mentor. They will make him as a player. Until 50, Dhoni will continue as player. If they mental
But
revenue.
but but then what Oyan says is right. If he continues as 50th player, then CSK will not qualify in any of the next 5 years,
No
probably.
chance. Does CSK wants to qualify? Is their motto? Understand that. If they
No,
want
they
to
are
have
five-time winners. They must have some ego, as Oyan said. Ego is important for champions.
ego
Champions
is
driven by
important.
ego.
See, ego is important, but more or less, sometimes promoters say, I am a 5 time champion. That's fine, yeah. Let's earn revenues much more for next solidify the revenue for next 5 years. 100 million dollars for next 5 years. My
What
franchisee on.
Oyan is saying, and you are saying a different views. That's good in democracy. You
Yes.
are saying CSK is okay to let go their old record and say, but play with Dhoni. No,
See,
that's a
it
sacrificial
is.
lamb, Kunal.
What I'm saying is Dhoni might be having a stake in CSK. That's
Okay,
why
which you are not
CSK,
aware.
which you or me are not aware. Maybe that's why CSK not able to get rid of him, even if they
Correct,
want.
which I also said. Correct. Makes the only point. So now you tell me, Fleming says he wants to go. CSK not willing to keep Fleming. Who coaches them? According to Ion, the only via media is Dhoni as mentor and coach both. That's the only media, because
Yes,
no one
could
is
be.
willing to take over as
Yes,
coach.
that could be a very good option for the CSK, win-win option for everyone. Because Dhoni, I feel, is a great cricketer, no doubt about that. Today, speak about him as a great cricketer. He understands the game pretty well. His game reading is excellent. His match reading is excellent. So in a dugout, he's definitely is an asset for any team. So even if he's not playing, he can definitely groom at junior team. That's for sure.
Now, my vital question to you, Kunal, is if CSK keeps Dhoni, then it is a message going to everyone across the world. A player is more important than a team. He sits on my head and I allow him to sit on my head. It's like a
No,
employee not
no,
performing, HR head is allowing him to perform because the bosses
no,
want it.
no, 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 no.
Why?
See,
Why not? He is
they're
not
they're going
contributing as a
they're
player, but
going
you're
no, no,
allowing him
they're
to
going
stay in the team.
understand. They're going two aspect of the game. One is the player he contributed. Fine. In a HR
Past,
head from a
Ayan
chalo,
said right, past tense.
I'm
Kunal, past tense, past tense. He contributed. D. Doesn't contribute
fine,
anymore.
fine. He can still contribute as a mentor. He can still contribute as a coach. Like an employee, if he's not doing well and the physical ability is not supporting him at the age of 60, still is an asset for a company by his knowledge, by his awareness. by his skill transfer. So he can always does that in a different role. Not always and all will
So
contribute to the
you
same
mean to
role.
say, as an HRH, so I'm just equating that. So management will be okay with his skill transfer
Yes, of course, yes. Skill and knowledge
and,
transfer.
and, and,
He
and
cannot
and
he
pay
cannot
him
do a skill
and pay
transfer.
him 10 crores and pay him
He,
10 crores.
he cannot no, you do not know the arrangements. He might be getting
Okay.
20
Okay.
crores. He can
Okay.
say
Okay.
if Gautam Gambhir charged for India coach an hefty amount, so
Right.
why not Mahendra
14
Singh
crores.
Dhoni charge for CSK a 10 crores or 10, 12 crores deal? That's not a nothing
Okay.
deal.
Okay.
CSK bought him
So
in 2008 at 6 crores.
okay. So both you and I are now agreeing on one point at least that some arrangement has to be there. Otherwise, it doesn't look that CSK might go ahead. So you are
Yes,
saying as a boss, you would be okay to keep him even if he doesn't play
he's an
because of
asset for the
just his skill
company.
transfer. He's
Yeah.
an asset for the company.
He's busy. It's not easy to get a replacement like him as his brain, as his mind, as his coach, as a mentor. So you cannot lose him, afford to lose him.
So my last question to you before I go back to Ayon. No one in the world, including Mahela Jayawardene, Kumar Sangakkar, who's the MCC president, anyways, he has to give up the job. He was approached. So all big cricketers in the world, Kevin Peterson, they are saying they're not comfortable with Dhoni in the dressing room. So aren't you going one step back, Kunal, as a HR head? If you have an employee who says, boss, I will not play and I'll go around and just move around that company. So you are basically, you are bowing down, Kunal. You are bowing down to that man.
No, I'm
Yes or
not,
no?
not buying down. Try to understand. I am wanted to respect his skill and ability to perform in a different role. Not engineer who's come as in GT, become an head of production has got the same agility. They might have a different agility, but the experience, can you throw it out? You can't. If you feel that he will add value, you will definitely not bow down. You will have your own conditions. You will not bow down and say, this is the 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 5 KPIs you need to perform. Team need to go into plays off. Team need to
So
play
you are saying
finals.
KPIs gets more important than personal choices.
Of course, yes. Otherwise, team will not sustain. If Dhoni become a coach, definitely CSK management will deal with. If I'm paying you this, I definitely want my team to be in playoff for the next 3 years continuously. And you have to give a weightage to stature of Dhoni. That's a brand. You have to respect that, especially in CSK. Similar with Virat. The moment Virat leaves the game, he'll be a mentor or any advisory board in RCB.
So you
Let
are
me tell you.
saying the stature becomes too important for anyone to take a call
In India, of course,
in
yes.
India. Yes, good point. I'll come to you. Thanks, Kunal. Very well made. Ayon, two questions to you. One, in cricket, we have this superstar culture which Gambhir is trying to get rid of. Number one question to you is keeping Dhoni. Is it? Are we? I asked the question to Ayon Kunal. So are we bowing down to a superstar culture? कि नहीं उसको रखना है भाई रख दो. Number one. Number two. Who is the likely coach in your mind who can work with Dhoni? No one is willing to work. That is the import of ESPN. So who in your mind comes as the person willing to work with Dhoni if he's again playing next year? Two questions. One, are we buying down to superstar culture? Number two, who can be the coach? Over to you,
Uh,
Ayon.
so what I will say today would be, I think, a bit controversial or whatever, but I like controversy. Well, the thing is that very strongly believe that MS Dhoni is one of the most pampered players ever in Indian cricket. I do not have any doubts about that. He has probably one of the worst records as Indian captain in tests. Of course, I'm not talking about strictly not talking about the shorter form of the game. Tests, abysmal record when he lost 8 tests in a row, and then
Test
against
overseas. Test overseas.
overseas.
We had that
Yes,
debate
yes,
long time back.
overseas.
Yes.
8 tests in a row overseas, and then I mean, absolutely, then against New Zealand again, we gave up winning positions and lost against Australia. I mean, England again, we lost 1-3. Very, very poor record, and yet, in fact, never has India lost 8 out of 8 tests abroad in its test history. In our times, you lose one series, the captain was out. Here, you lost 2 series, you were completely whitewashed, and the captain was garlanded, probably, right? Nobody wanted to even ask the question that what went wrong? Why is this captain continuing? That was not even in the conversation. So, of course, I mean, I also feel that, when he started off, he was really very different. But somehow he just lost interest in tests and the system. I mean, he became too big for the system. And very astonishingly, I am seeing that this it is just continuing. I mean, this
Very
see,
good point. I'll come to Kunal
this
last
is
on this after
continuing,
Ishanyan. He is
right?
big for the system. This is a point we need to debate. Yes, I also
He
personally
is
feel, but we need the
actually
debates of the others.
somehow, see, of course, his rise. I mean, is going beyond the system coincided with the fact when Srinivasan became board
Yes.
president and all, and they
See, but then the
completely
counter
went
counter
together.
counter theory on can be Saurav Ganguly became big because of Jagmohan Dalmia. Same
Yeah, yeah,
theory
yeah.
given by a lot of people.
But look at Saurav Ganguly's successes. I mean, come on. Under
Overseas, yeah,
Saurav Ganguly, India has had miracles in test
overseas,
as
correct.
well as one days. Miracles.
Mhm.
I mean,
Correct,
chasing
agreed.
325 against England, being 140 for 5.
So
That was
my
a
question, Oyon,
miraculous
is
victory.
now we are little running short of time. My
Okay.
question is
Yeah.
number
So,
one. So are we bowing down to superstar culture by
so
keeping him in the
he,
team?
I mean, MS Dhoni is a fantastic person for a cricket historian to research. He has this aura about him where somehow the Indian system is a slave to him somehow. And miraculously, that is continuing. In that massive fraud case against CSK in the IPL, he was
Yes,
untouched.
yes,
He was almost
untouched.
part of
True,
the
true,
management,
true,
and he was
true.
completely untouched, right? So
Right,
that is continuing, and I do not
right,
know whether this would happen for any other player. What I'm seeing is that it is certainly happening for him, continuing to happen. I would be very
right.
eager to see how this evolution, happens. For me, corporate is very cruel. I have never seen in my experiences in life that somebody who keeps on non-performing, still gets carried about by corporate. I
I
do not
also
see
agree
that.
with you in this.
I do not
Yeah,
see that.
to an extent.
So, as I said, I do not see a role of Dhoni other than mentor and coach. I think that would be a good experiment for CSK. For your second question, who can be a coach? I think Steve Fleming,
Working with Dhoni,
working
because
with Dhoni,
everyone has
right?
turned no.
I think
Yeah,
Steve Fleming did work with Dhoni, so I
yes.
believe
But
that
that
he could
time
have
Dhoni
been
was
good.
at his at least moderate
Right,
best, not peak,
right,
moderate best.
right. So
Yeah.
now, whether Dhoni's ego has grown proportionally as his form has deteriorated, if that has been the case, then Dhoni is an impossible man to manage. I don't know. Again, see, we are all bluffing. We don't have any clue about what the
Yeah,
reality is.
we are hyper
John Wright,
venting on what is
see,
the
John Wright.
condition. I mean, yeah,
John Wright
we
would
are,
have been a great coach because John Wright showed
yeah,
with Saurav Ganguly at the helm.
yes.
Both of them
Hmm.
managed, again. See the number of miracles that Saurav Ganguly achieved during his tenure
Hmm.
as captain of both Indian Test and ODI teams. I do not think
Correct.
any captain ever has matched in India.
Yeah,
Ever.
I
Ever.
think the
I'm
personalities
coming out and
worked
saying
well together. Saurav's
they
tough personality
absolutely.
and John Wright very soft, quiet,
And
that worked very well.
fantastic man management. See,
Hmm.
Tendulkar was at his height of his powers. The way they
Yeah.
managed Tendulkar, the way they managed to get him open in ODIs, they of course
Hmm.
Tendulkar was batting. He was
I'll just
batting.
throw a question to you, which I'll throw to Kunal later. Gary Thurston, good choice.
See, if
If he comes
Stephen
out of South
Fleming,
Africa, that's he's currently the South
if
African national team
Fleming
coach.
cannot manage Dhoni, if Fleming
Hmm.
cannot manage Dhoni, having already worked with him for such a long time, I am not sure anybody in the world can manage. Unfortunately, I mean,
This
Kirsten,
is
yes, is
baffling,
there.
Warren, because 3 years you have not played 24, 25, 26. 3 years you played 3 or 4 matches in the entire year. And still the CSK management is okay with that. When
Maybe
coaches are not okay.
I think there is something which we don't know. As I think this is, I
Yes,
think,
which Kunal rightly said, that the
yeah, I
arrangement
mean,
is very
just
different.
pondering over the same thing over and over again is not helpful. What I can straight say is that there is
Yeah,
something
yeah.
we don't know. For CSK, somehow it appears losing is less important than having Dhoni around,
Kunal
which is
exactly said
quite
the same thing.
astounding.
Yes.
Which I
Hmm.
believe, however, they are testing the patience of corporate. The corporate culture typically is very,
Yes, they
cutthroat.
are testing, which
It
Kunal
is
will be
very
agreeing
cutthroat.
also.
I have
Hmm.
personally seen. I mean, it is cutthroat. So I don't
Hmm.
know. But then they go by the weight of the scale. So something is loading the scales
Hmm.
in Dhoni's favor. We do not know what that is, but
Hmm.
I do feel that they had a very bad Dhoni this time. Dhoni very clearly can no longer contribute with to any meaning
It's
as
obvious.
a
At
bat.
45, you cannot play even 20 overs. Also, you
Come
can't
on,
play
no,
20 overs at
20 overs,
45 unless
forget.
you're not
I mean,
superhuman.
see, he has been coming, as number what, 7, 8,
Eight,
playing
eight,
10
eight.
balls
Last
at
time he came
times,
as eight.
hitting a 6 or a 2, and he's just, he's become like folklore, right? So people, I mean, Dhoni hitting a 6 somehow is
This
becoming
particular
more
case of
important.
MSD is actually in contravention with the entire world.
Oh yeah,
None. I can't
somehow
find
he
any
has
other
this.
example.
That is there. I mean, see, India is living in an era of superheroes. We are having
Yeah.
superheroes in every,
Hmm,
every aspect of our lives. The
hmm,
superheroes
hmm,
do whatever they
hmm.
feel and still get, do not have any anything, any negative thing that goes for them at all. They
Right.
just, they in all spheres of life we have that, right? And Dhoni, I think,
Correct.
is an extension for cricket. I mean, somehow they are immune to whatever failures they might have. We are seeing it in all spheres of life. We are seeing that in our politics. We are seeing that in our businesses. We are seeing that everywhere. So this is the world. This is the era of superheroes. I mean, you look at the whole world. You have, Trump. You have
Right.
these big leaders who are much bigger than life. I think
Yeah.
somehow MS Dhoni is a cult figure now, as he is
Hmm,
living in cricket,
hmm.
where just his presence somehow dominates the narrative even more than the failure of his team, which is a very stunning thing to happen. But the only question is how long that will happen.
Will they persist? Yes. Kunal said that CSK is okay to take a hit on the brand. You also kind of agreeing to it now, but you leave a very pertinent question. How long? Very good question. I'll come to both of you to close the statement. Ishanjan, I'll ask you the only one question because you are watching Dhoni from a very young age because you are a little younger to us. What is your take on this entire issue that people don't want to work with him? He's sort of a black sheep now. He's being seen as someone who's irritant to the side, a spoiler which I told you. He's someone you also worked as leadership roles in different banks outside
Hmm.
India also. He's someone in the team who you don't want to keep, but your boss tells you isko rakhna hai. How uncomfortable? What do you think? Why is he so important to CSK?
See, one thing is that I was listening the my both the seniors. I will again my first senior he rightly pointed out that when there can be certain circumstances where there is a thorn in the throat that you can't even gulp and can't you even that means can't you even smack that out. So actually Mahendra Singh Dhoni, what he rightly pointed out, that a brand, what we call a brand, from the day one IPL has started, from the day one the cricket has started. We Mahendra Singh Dhoni he has represented Chennai Super Kings, and the name CSK, the brand CSK is itself, it's a Dhoni is a cult of that brand CSK. Like Virat Kohli has been a cult of that RCB. Same, the substantially same thing is Dhoni, that he is the brand. Yeah, with this brand Dhoni CSK, actually CSK can't if this brand Dhoni comes out of then CSK, that actually the spur with the CSK team will gradually fall down. So Dhoni has to be a part of the team in that case, because still he is for if we say if the other cricketers equivalent to Dhoni, all of them have retired. It's and Dhoni being present to a dressing room, it's a huge positive aspect for the team. So in case there is nothing where he can act as a mentor to the team. In fact, he himself can be given a position of coach, because Dhoni, when a person like when a player like Dhoni is present in a team, it's itself motivating. And we know these youngsters who are playing for CSK, they have all at some point of time they are
Sanjan, I have only
all
one question. We are running a little short of time. Kunal said he's too big a brand, and so the CSK is ready to take a hit. Oyon said he's a brand, no doubt, but how long? Because corporates run out of patience. We all know we have worked in corporates for 20 plus years. Why? What in your mind? What do you think? Why are they persisting with Dhoni, knowing that he's not there anymore as a player? Why are they persisting?
it's mainly due to the same thing, that if they rule out Dhoni, gradually the spar with the CSK team will gradually fall down. and they
So
will be
you are saying what
nowhere. The
Kunal said,
support that
that the money, the gate money, the
going
sponsor fee, the stadium
money,
fee, the different aspects of
yeah,
IPL will phase out if Dhoni is not
is
there.
the yeah, because see, Dhoni is not playing in nowhere, but he has been a part of the CSK mainly due to the fact, because we all know IPL is a game where money, there are a lot of money, sponsorship, these all things are involved. One big aspect is sponsorship. Definitely, there is a big aspect sponsorship, then viewers' rights, everything keeping in mind.
So you are
They
saying,
can't address a
Ishanjan, what
thorn in the
actually Kunal
bushes.
is saying, you are saying he pulls the money. He is the marquee player. He pulls the money. That is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's why there is a thorn in the bushes for the CSK, that CSK can't gulp it, but has to take carry away with him anyway. So in that cases, he can be the mentor of the team. It's good, and being present, he can guide the junior for the team. He can show the way
You
to
are
the
going to the
juniors.
solution part. I agree. If no one wants to be a coach, as both of them, yes, you have to give him a coach. But I look at it at a different holistic view, that why will we allow a person to grow into that superstar image, which Ayon rightly pointed out, when we are actually promoting a superstar culture, which Gambhir is trying to come out of it. I mean, in offices, we often see, ये boss का favorite है, ये तो काम नहीं करता, लेकिन boss manage करता है. Do you think Dhoni is managing the bosses well, so that his presence, even uncomfortable, is accepted?
See, over here, that's a part that Dhoni is managing. I was saying the mainly the viewers, right? The sponsorship, everything, there is a pressure. And we anyway we need to indulge one, the course, that's thing that you are asking, that we are indulging this, we are
Yes.
giving indulgence
Superstar
to this
culture. You're correct.
superstar culture. See, one, the game here, it's IPL, it's not a national team or here where the game the itself pulls a lot of money. So here, a franchisee, I don't think a franchisee can afford to lose so much sponsorship rights, so much. So that's what I'm saying, that he's the thorn in the bushes for the this CSK team. So in that case, if you don't like to promote him, then CSK will have to gradually start from the
So basically,
market
what
down.
you
It
say,
has to start
Ishanjan,
from
is
zero.
he is a one-man show for CSK. You are saying he's a one-man show for CSK.
He's a one-man show for CSK. Yeah, definitely, he's a one-man show for CSK. The team CSK we know is that team CSK Dhoni, due to Dhoni. See, MI Mumbai Indians is not due to presence of Rohit Sharma. MI is we all know that is a
Correct.
Nita Ambani's team. It's a
Nita Ambani
Ambani's
side.
team.
Absolute.
But CSK,
Correct.
we hardly that it's it belongs to Srinivasan. Hardly people. We all know the first thing CSK comes in our mind is Mahendra Singh Dhoni. So he himself is a brand. He's
So you
himself a
made the third
marquee
most
where
important
you
point, that brand Dhoni is bigger
crowd
than
puller.
brand CSK.
Brand's a
He's the
crowd
crowd.
puller,
Fair enough.
the money
Fair.
puller, the brand puller. Everything is so. He has definitely is a thorn in the bushes. So they can't actually they can't dial him up at all. So they have to.
So
They are
you are
in a
saying
dilemma. They have to.
So you are saying even riling up the, yeah, even irritating the management, they are okay with continuing with Dhoni. Thank you, Sudhi. Ishanjan, you made a good point. We'll come to Kunal and Ayon on that. Kunal, we'll close with you and Ayon. Do you think, Kunal, what made a good point by Ishanjan? He says Dhoni is too big for the brand. Do you think you really like as a HR head a man who is too big the brand, say for any ABC company, ITC, Excite, Barger, too big for the brand, and you keep him? Forget the transfer of assets, skills, we all agree. Man too big, don't you think? As an HR head, he breathes down your neck and he pushes your KPI, he pushes your principles. He is big.
No, I don't think that will sustain. Nobody would like to. Organizations are much bigger than an individual, of course, at any point of day. So nobody would like to have that kind of an asset, which will become a liability. Number one. Number two, the point is the organizations always prefer to have a stable man right on shoulder that will not disrupt your entire system. Disruption is not allowed in the organization, which will makes you or feels you like the organization policies will be haywire, process will be haywire. So definitely you have to, maybe for a temporary loss you have to let him go or let her go, and for a longer run it will be an advantage to you if you can establish a fact that processes are important than an individual genius. I always believe one sentence. Even if you are intelligent, that is not been that is not a great quality if it is not been accepted by a common mass. So you could be an
Very
intelligent.
true.
So let's be it. Let's Mahendra Singh Dhoni be a star, be a brand, but definitely CSK has to take the right call for their progress in life.
So
That's it.
you are saying even if they don't win, it is okay to keep Dhoni. That is your
No,
final take.
I'm not saying that. I said they
Okay.
will realize that they have to take the call. See, you and me can discuss here over the table, but they have to take the call what they
So we're
want.
trying to find out why is it so important that even if coaches don't want to work with him in dressing room, they're still trying to go ahead with him. So we're trying to
And
find out what.
what is the priorities that they need to set it right? Or they need a result, trophies, a winning team, or more revenue, more brand for next 2 3 years, and then see what is next on the ladder. Or parting ways for Dhoni may have a different perspective, which we or may not
No,
know
but
in with
Kunal, your
BCCI.
starting comments were CSK is okay. You said only CSK is okay to let go few championships for Dhoni, but they need Dhoni. That was your
If
starting
they need, yes, yes, that is the current set of
scheme of things.
yeah, yeah.
So your take as a HR head is if he's okay with the organization flow, keep him. Irrespective of
If if
irrespective of disruption, there's any disruption. No one wants to be a coach. So if
if
there's
he
a
if
disruption in
he
the system,
if he sync with the organization flow, if he sync with the
hmm,
organization objectives, then he's game. Otherwise, door is wide open. Stadium gets are much more bigger,
that's a
and
very
Dhoni is a
valid
very
point.
big player.
You have to see the organization objective, Kunal. What
Yes,
CSK is thinking right now, we don't know.
that's
Correct.
right.
Thank you so much, Kunal. Wonderful points made. Oyon, finally, before we close, your final take on this entire issue, which is the first time I watching 40 years of cricket, first time a player given more importance than dressing room.
So I am actually reminded of the great Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. So you remember that he was, he became like he was worshipped during the, when you and I were in school, he was worshipped. I mean, he just had to be in a film, and it would succeed, right? Nobody wanted to see the film; they wanted to see Amitabh. That was his legend. But then, Rahul, even that started waning after Shahenshah was a mega hit. Again, it was not so great a film. Actually, but the public got tired of even the great Amitabh Bachchan. And while there were several films during his heyday, which were very poorest films, but which still, got the producers money because of the sole fact that Amitabh Bachchan was starring in them. Later on, you saw the same public actually not going to see his films to a level that at some point of his career, he had to play even second lead to Govinda. Okay, so I think Dhoni is playing the same game at the moment. I mean, I don't think the way things have panned out, I don't think there has been a bigger cult figure in Indian cricket. And I'm again, putting out my neck in saying this. I don't think there's been a bigger cult figure than Dhoni, because Nehito, this is not possible. I mean, a player who keeps on failing. Instead, in spite of that, he's never stripped of his captaincy. He has never, he retires from international cricket at his own, sweet will. Nobody dares tell him when to retire. Of course, Kapil Dev also quite retired like that, but not to the same extent of Dhoni. I mean, Kapil was also dropped in a test match because of a failure. Remember that, right? So Dhoni just kept on playing. He was never, again,
No,
sweet
I
will.
think Ayan Kapil, the Azhar was just waiting for Kapil to take 434. The last
Yeah, yeah.
1 year was very hell.
Yeah,
If you
right.
remember, we wanted Kapil to retire because he
Correct,
was pathetic to the
correct,
eye. He was
correct.
not able to bowl even.
He was called the best off spinner in the world by Bedi,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
Bedi
correct.
called him the best
So
off spinner in the world.
there's two
But
main things coming out. One, Kunal says,
yes,
which Ishanjan also says, that CSK's objective, we don't know why they are agreeing to keep him in spite of the entire ecosystem going against you. And you are saying he's too big a superstar,
and
spoiled
what I'm
superstar maybe.
also saying, Rahul, is that even superstars have a shelf life. MS Dhoni has had a
Yes,
massive
correct.
shelf life till now.
Massive shelf life. Yes.
Massive, amazing. I don't think, as I'm stepping out of the crease and saying this, that I don't think there's been a bigger cult figure in Indian cricket ever than MS Dhoni. So that wherever
So
CSK goes and plays, still there are people of the local city who support CSK. KKR plays CSK because Dhoni is playing. there are Bengalis who support CSK. My son supports CSK when they play KKR just because of Dhoni.
Correct. Agreed.
Then
So,
the question is
yeah,
whether he's pushing it too far. Whether
correct.
he's
So
pushing
the
it too far.
basic point
And
coming out from the entire discussion is there's no doubt he's taking leeway, a lot of leeway than which is not given to a lot of cricketers. Saurav never had it, neither did VVS Lakshman, neither did Rahul Dravid, number of players. To an extent only Sunil Gavaskar. Then those days cricket was not very complicated. But now it is to be seen why we may be not knowing why. But again, the point which comes out again, Kunal also agreed to it that if CSK goes down with Dhoni in a few years to see, then obviously either it is their strategy or then it is an honorable exit for Dhoni to move out and understand that he cannot demean his culture anymore by keeping with the team and not playing and creating a very uncomfortable scenario. Thank you so much. Kunal, Oyon, and Isanjan, really appreciate this is one of our best shows because we had a lot of diverse comments coming and converging to one. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate all of you coming on a short notice. Thank you so much and good night.